I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, April the 8th, brought to you in part by To Leave by Norbrook. Unbreaking news, To Leave delivers the same fast and long-acting, broad-spectrum activity you expect from a telithromycin injection, and it's exclusively in plastic bottles so you don't have to worry about breaking them. Also, Norbrook wants to remind you and make you aware that coming in June, you're basically going to have a script or a prescription for any kind of vet products for your cattle. You need to be prepared for that. You need to visit with your veterinarians, get a script on file where you buy vet supplies, and be prepared for whenever that comes so you don't get caught flat-footed. For more information, go to norbrook.com. All-time record high fat cattle. I didn't think that we would see it this quick. I kind of thought as we were coming this way with these really tight numbers of market-ready cattle and the demand being so good, I thought we had a chance to encompass the all-time record high price that we achieved back in 2014. We blew by it. I'm not even sure it heard us coming or even saw the flash in the passing lane when we went by there. But as we went by the all-time record high price previously established at 173, when we blew by that, we were gaining $2, $3, $4, and $5 a whack this week, and it was great to see. Just to hear guys selling cattle, you know, just dollars and dollars higher every 30, every 20, every 30 minutes, every hour, every 2 hours. It was just dollars and dollars higher. Guys were sick because they didn't take a bid, and then the next time the phone rang or a text come in, it was a better bid. So you just don't see those kinds of things happen very often. We had a great week last week in our negotiated fed cattle arena, even better this week, but not sure what our weighted average is going to be in our 5-area feeding region or even in the northern plains, because like I said, it's just gaining all the time. But it is easily going to surpass the 2014 all-time record high of established market at 173. So congratulations to everybody in the cattle business. Like I said on our last visit, I think we still got a ways to go on calves and yearlings. But back in 2014, we had plentiful forage. Our grains were a lot cheaper. All of our inputs were so much cheaper because we had never seen Magoo leadership at that point. So we were in a different time, a different world, if you will. You know, everything was so much cheaper than what it is today. And so even though your fat cattle bring in an all-time record high price, and guys are making money, and some of these fat cattle, depending on the weight, bringing close to $3,000 per head, the inputs have taken so much of the fun out of it. The guys are making money and they're happy, you know, and they're glad to be in the business that they're in. But they know that the times that they make money like this are very few compared to the times that they lose money. You know, it just feels good though to come out in the black and a long ways to the black for some of the guys. But also talk to guys in the northern plains that's had cattle on feed through the harsh winter, through all the storms that they've had, and cattle that should be making 200, 250 plus are losing money. Because those cattle use so much of the energy from their feed to try to just survive the cold weather, tromping through mud and slush and things like that. You know, they lost cattle in those storms too. So we can't forget that. Also, you know, the cattle that are on feed now. Well, we've got severe storms coming through the northern plains right now. You know, guys still trying to dig out. I was talking to Casey Fanta with Wolf Cattle Company there at the production sale on Thursday, and he said they've got so much snow up there in Minnesota where their ranch is at, and it hasn't really gotten above freezing for any amount of time. You know, maybe an hour or two here, an hour or two there, and they're just hoping that it doesn't, because if it would happen to warm up like it is down in Texas, where we actually had the online only sale, everything would just wash away. I mean, it would be a complete flood, and there's a lot of areas like that. I saw some other pictures and some other videos. Jim Felton, my friend from up in western Montana now, out delivering bulls, going through Idaho, and was showing some pictures of the amount of snow that they've got in Idaho. Unbelievable. You know, and you just think, where is all that going to go? But they are going to have great moisture conditions and deep soil moisture for change when the northern plains and parts of the Midwest finally get in there to get this next crop planted. You know, it should just take off, because they're going to have so much moisture in there. Not so much as you go down into the southern plains. Kansas is still in one of the worst droughts they've ever had. It's unbelievably dry there. Guys are still having to sell their cattle, to sell their herds, their cow herds, because they just can't hold them anymore, and there's not enough places to take them to. There's no hay to buy. You couldn't afford it if there was. And, you know, and you just feel for guys like that. But just extreme weather in different places. Really, really wet out west. I'm going to show you what some cattle will bring out there, because it's been really, really wet. They're starting to get some sunshine now, and the green grass is just taking off out in that country. But this fat cattle market's going to stay good. It's going to continue to get high. Guys are asking me how high this week. I think fat cattle will get over $2 a pound. I really do. I don't see how they can't. The Packers came into this year knowing that they had 700,000 less cattle to purchase and harvest there, and then but they didn't get with it. They were kind of short bought. They're getting pretty close to the knife. Weren't preparing for that. They haven't been buying a lot of cattle out front. I was looking at the daily livestock report through CME, and it showed that April delivery previously purchased cattle by Packers of fed cattle is down 32% for April compared to a year ago. May is down 30%, and June is down 39% so far of previously purchased cattle for delivery dates in those months. You know, they are absolutely behind the 8 ball, and now these few negotiated sellers that are out there are smelling blood. You know, they're like a tiger with blood in the water. They're coming after these Packers, and they're just laying back, letting the Packers know that they've got fat cattle out there ready to go, how good they are, how much the Packers want them, and then just laying back. And you cannot blame them, and they are enjoying it. And I hope that a lot of you guys that have given up negotiated trade are starting to think, maybe I ought to do that myself. And a lot of you guys think you're selling negotiated because your feedlot manager is telling you that, but you're actually on some type of a grid or some type of a formula deal because it's not straight up cash. If it's straight up cash, you'll absolutely know it. But let's talk about your board on Thursday, and it finally responded. Finally responded after all this time, and then it's going to be closed on Friday, like I told you. But April live cattle futures are up 267 on Thursday at 170, 107. June was up 280, 163.10. Your back months was up 85 cents only, and that was the farthest out, to up nearly $3 there. Your April feeder cattle are up $2.80 at $200.62. Trying to outpace cash, and cash is running it down. I mean, really, really fast. May feeder cattle up $3.30 at $205.40. Back months up 2.5 to $3.37. And your grains are cheaper, guys. I mean, people are really liking the way things are looking right now. May corn down 9 1/4 cents at 643.5. December new crop down 4 cents at 556 3/4. May beans down 18.5, and November down 6 1/4 cent at 1309 3/4 cents a bushel. Your fat cattle trade, what you can keep up with, the confirmed sales on Thursday, 4,500 head in Iowa, 20,500 head so far for the week. Good movement there already. 173 to 178 live. I've heard 180, guys. I've heard 180. Several sources, major packers. Whether it shows up or not, I don't know how closely they are auditing those mandatory price reporting turn-ins. But I'm hearing prices out there from guys that I know what they're talking about and know that those cattle are negotiated, and you don't see them. But I hope we see the 180 turned in Thursday afternoon late. Now I realize it wasn't before 2 o'clock, but should show up on reports on Friday of 180. Dress sales 277 to 283. Nebraska 7,000 head confirmed on Thursday, 31,200 head for the week. Big movement there. One price in the Northern Plains, and that's the market in the Northern Plains, is 177. And dress sales from 278 to 280. Kansas sold 1,300 head is all on Thursday. 15,600 head for the week. 172. That's $2 higher than it was on Wednesday, and $5 higher than a week ago. Just gains, guys. Texas didn't have any direct sales confirmed on Thursday. 9,700 head for the week, getting close to 10,000 in Texas. That's kind of a big deal anymore, guys. You don't see it very often. The only trade I really heard of in Texas was on the Fed Cattle Exchange. They sold some bid the grid cattle where they negotiate on the base price, which is nice to have a little bit of negotiation somewhere. Most of your grid direct sales don't have any negotiation on them, but they still turn them in as negotiated grid. But they had active trading on bid the grid, negotiated grid base price beef on dairy at 171. So that was better than anything we'd seen in Texas so far. So if you really look at the whole market compared to last week, your Northern Plains is running $3 to $8 higher on a live basis. Dress sales $7 to $11 higher on the top end. Southern Plains sales $3 to $5 higher than last week. And yes, breaking records for all-time record high fat cattle market. Box beef cutout values higher on the choice, lower on select. His choice was up $1.03 at $289.65. Select down $1.53, stretching that choice select spread, which I think it's that time of the year, at $276.63. Your slaughter is very disappointing this week. They haven't been very aggressive. They haven't had the cattle that they needed to really get lined up for the slaughter. And then now we're going to be running really short here on Good Friday, and then won't be anything to speak of at all on Saturday. But 488,000 head harvested through the first 4 days of this week, 17,000 less than the previous week, 3,000 less than the same week a year ago. We're expecting a big week of slaughter next week, and that's what the packers have been trying to get ready for in all this frantic buying that they've been doing. Your actual slaughter information come in 2 weeks old, showed your average dressed steer carcass weight fell another 4 pounds to 895 pounds, 4 pounds less than the previous report, 15 pounds less than the same report a year ago. All of this is bullish, guys. Talk about what else is going on. Safeguard Wormer tells you that you can deworm your cattle your way at the chute, in the pasture, or added to their feed. Wherever Safeguard is given, it goes to work. For more information, go to safeguardworks.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through the middle 12 states. 197.04, up $1.45. That's a 7-day moving average, guys. Up $1.45. and it's just gangbusters, guys. It's just every day grabbing, gaining, pulling, getting close to $2 a pound based on an 800-pound steer. I told you earlier, I predict that your fat cattle market will be $2 a pound. I don't see what's going to stop it, guys. If I look a little worn out and haggard to you, I had a long day at the Wolf Cattle Company limousine influence sale there. Sold 191 lots through my DV auction console there at the online only sale, and total dollar value of the lots we sold just on DV was $1.125 million. And if you're not consigning your auction to DV auction, if you're having a production sale, you're just missing out on tens of thousands of registered buyers that are in the market for purebred breeding stock. And I can't imagine why anybody wouldn't have their production sale on DV, even if they're broadcasting with somebody else. But one that we're going to have, a big sale that we're going to have here today on Friday in a pretty prestigious sale, Lucas Cattle Company. You think, Lucas, where do I remember that from? Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Lucas is famous for all kinds of motorsports, but they're big into cattle too. And they're raised in Simmental and Sim Angus. Sim Angus is kind of where it's at, guys. They want a frame to hang these big carcasses on, guys. And the Sim Angus cattle have it. But here today on Friday, April the 8th, 1 o'clock Central, get on to dvauction.com and view and bid Lucas Cattle Company's production sale. Talk about your big feeder cattle auctions on Thursday. Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas, 4,500 head, higher to sharply higher. Stick out deal in Salina, 65 steers, weight 827 at 205. That's just getting to be kind of normal that they bring $2 a pound. We're bringing it weighing over 8. It's unbelievable. How about Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas? 2,100 head, a little bit lighter run for them. I tell you what, it is so dry in that area down there in southern Kansas, especially to the west, central and west Kansas. It's unbelievable how dry it is. Cannot catch any rain at all. Now the Flint Hills ain't too bad at all, and they've got them burnt off and ready to turn out on here next week. But you get over around Pratt and it's really dry, higher, and then the poor market reporting there called the thin cattle sharply higher. And I don't know if they were comparing those thin cattle to the thin cattle last week or the thin cattle to the average flesh cattle last week, but they called nearly all the top quality feeder cattle thin. And then on the second cut of cattle, the plainer top 1s and 2 cattle, no thin cattle flagged in there. It's the worst I've ever seen, and it's a lack of training is what the problem is. But I saw a stick out deal in Pratt through Cattle Market Central. 51 head of steers, weighed 576 at 253.75, and that's pretty impressive. How about your Zoetta stick out sale of the day? Easily Ogallala Livestock Auction in Ogallala, Nebraska. Unbelievable. Just Twitter and Snapchat and all those social medias that the cowboys are using now, they were all just blowing up about Ogallala, and for good reason. 3,800 head in Ogallala. Look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central. It's very, very impressive, and it's mostly heifers. Not keeping a lot of heifers back there, and even as high as the heifers sold, did not have any flagged for replacement. I mean, it's just feeder heifers, and the market's that good, but did have some light 4-weight steers bring over $3 a pound in small bunches. They had 460 head of 8-weight feeder steers in Ogallala. They averaged 852 with a weighted average price of 202.68. Wow. Look at all the heifers with the well-tested weight groups. 343 head of 4-weight heifer calves, average 467, weighted average price 237.48. 552 head of 5-weight heifers, average 543, weighted average price 225.42. 454 head of 6-weight heifers. Who's keeping back replacements, guys? 646 pounds on the average, 204.72, and 507 head of 7-weight feeder heifers, average 741, weighted average price 193.14. Few stick out deals that are unbelievable. I got this one, and it was actually from Wednesday, but it was so far out west it just took that long to get to me because we don't have them on Cattle Market Central, but would like to. But Cattleman's Livestock Market in Galt, California, got this from several sources, had 95 steers, little calf weight yearlings, guys, weighed 506, bring 295.50, weighing over 500 pounds, guys, in Galt, California. How about Mitchell Livestock Marketing in Mitchell, South Dakota? They sold 60 head of steers, weighed 933 at 195.75. Are you kidding me? But most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, your Mackerson No BS top quote for the day. Remember, it makes a big difference where it's at too, guys. Paris Stockyards in Paris, Kentucky sells 115 steers right there in the ring, 802 pounds at 201.20, and a lot of wheels to go under them, guys. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.